Let's take a look at the gender breakup, because this, I think, is one of the important things that comes out of the Matrice data. The skew towards the NDA, the overwhelming, unquestionable skew in his data. 52% of the men said they voted NDA, 65%. But just basic maths, if your vote share is 48 and men is 52, women is 65, the vote share should actually be much more. At a base, it should be 52. It should be actually 58, 59. आपने मैथ्स की कैसे?
अब उस पे आते हैं. देखिए जो 52% है,
अगर 52% पुरुष और 65% महिलाएं बोल रही कि एनडीए को दिया, तो आपका 59% वोट शेयर हुआ, तो 48 कैसे हुआ?
फिर आप ध्यान दीजिए, ये वीमेंस वोट में कैसे वोट शेयर हुआ है. आप इसके साथ मैच कराएंगे तो हमेशा 100 से ऊपर चला जाएगा. मैं क्या दिया हूँ, वीमेन का वोट कितना है, उसमें एनडीए को कितना आया है. मुझे लग रहा था आप यहाँ गड़बड़.
नहीं, मैं वही तो बोल रहा हूँ. मनोज जी, राहुल कह रहे हैं 52 is the base. Let's assume they are men and women. 52 is the base. So whatever is the average vote share, then has to be above 52. How is the average vote share 48? Basic maths.
एक्चुअली मैच का ये परसेंटेज है कि जो 52% ये दे रहे 52% और 36% इनके गठबंधन के साथ जा रहे हैं. इसमें महिलाओं का वोट यदि नहीं मिलता तो जितने मार्जिनल सीट इनके साथ फंस रही थी, 52 के बाद भी मार्जिनल सीट बनी थी, तो वो चीजें डिफाइन नहीं कर पाए.
जय मृग हैज अ क्वेश्चन फॉर यू. जय,
नहीं, मैं केवल मनोज जी राहुल के सवाल को आगे लेके जा रहा हूँ. राहुल के सवाल को मैं बहुत साधारण तरीके से बताता हूँ. अगर 100 पुरुष थे, उसमें से 52 ने कहा हम एनडीए को वोट दें, और 100 महिलाएं थी, उसमें से 65 ने कहा हम एनडीए को वोट दें, तो दोनों का औसत कहीं ना कहीं 58 होना चाहिए. तो राहुल का ये कहना है कि वो 58 वोट शेयर होना चाहिए.
वोट परसेंटेज एक विधानसभा से नहीं आता है. जहां बड़ी मार्जिनल सीटें होती हैं वहां जो पोल होता है उसके साथ ये परसेंटेज.
I'll just explain to our viewers what I think has happened without getting lost in technicalities. This is the raw vote share that he's picked up in his sample. Then he's factored it down basis the various calculations that have been put in to actually come at the 48% vote share. Anyway, it's his numbers. There's no point in us getting geeky about it. But statistically, there's an argument which we can have off air if you're interested. Right now, this is not the opportunity. Let me look at the Matrice caste data. Here again, an important argument comes out. 69% of general upper caste voting for the NDA. Gadbandhan only 15%. 78% of the Muslims voting for the Gadbandhan. ये आपको लगता है कि एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर था कि तेजस्वी को, राहुल गांधी को लग रहा था कि दलित बड़ी संख्या में वोट देंगे. वो एक्चुअली ज्यादा वोट तो एनडीए को पड़ा है.
ये दो कारण हुआ. एक तो जैसे इनका अपना तालमेल मुकेश सहनी को लेकर, जीतन राम मांझी को लेकर, और इधर तेजस्वी को इनको लेकर, तेज प्रताप को एलजेपी को लेकर जो ये इनका समीकरण बना था, उसके कारण से ये सारी चीजें हुई थी कि शेड्यूल कास्ट इनके. और दूसरा जो इन्होंने नीचे स्तर पे जो नीतीश जी ने सेंट्रल की जो पॉलिसी थी उसको उन्होंने डिलीवर किया है. और वहाँ पे आकर महागठबंधन में देखेंगे कि जिस तरीके से मुकेश सहनी को लेकर काफ़ी विरोधाभास रहा, जिस तरीके से उन्होंने प्रेशर पॉलिटिक्स किया, तो कहीं ना कहीं लोगों को लगा कि ये यहीं तक सीमित है. जैसे आप जाएंगे तो मांझी जो है 6 सीट पे लड़ रहे हैं, उनका परफॉर्मेंस देखेंगे तो 4 सीटों जीते. मुझसे पूछिएगा तो मैं मानूंगा कि एनडीए फोल्डर में सबसे ज़्यादा स्ट्राइक रेट किसी का इस बार बेटर होगा तो जीतन राम मांझी जी का होगा. और तेजस्वी इनका क्या कहा जाता है, एलजेपी का परफॉर्मेंस 29 सीटों पर लड़ने के बाद भी उनका परफॉर्मेंस कम हो रहा, तो उनके गठबंधन में सबसे लो
29 सीट. But all right, thank you, Manoj, for joining us. I just want a quick final round of word from all our guests before we wrap up. I'll start with Kanchan Gupta. What would you look out for the most on the 14th? What do you think is the one factor which could change between now and then?
A massive Muslim consolidation. If that were to happen in a sufficient number of seats over and above which would have otherwise gone to Mahagathbandhan, then that would change the situation quite a lot. But as was pointed out, you can't have multiple polls giving the same direction. Now, it's a question of numbers. The numbers may change, the numbers may go up, go down, come down. But I somehow sense, having seen so many polls in my life, this trend is going to hold unless there is, as I said, there's a huge upset that the Muslim consolidation is so big in seats over and above which Mahagathbandhan was expected to win, and then that propels it
Okay,
upwards.
Ashok Malik, what would you be looking out for most on the 14th?
What could change, plausibly what could change from these? I would say perhaps Prashant Kishore is being undercounted. That's one factor. If he is being undercounted indeed, and if he is hurting the NDA, then that could change things. I think the consolidation of Muslims and Yadavs behind the RJD is complete anyway. The question is, can they add a third community? From this, we're not seeing any third sizable community being added.
Chetan?
I think NDA could win very big because the vote shares that are being said, predicting seats are very difficult on exit polls. If the vote share is what it is, NDA could win very big. However, the only thing is sometimes people lie in exit polls. A lot of times people come out and people lie. Like, I don't know if Muslims will say the correct where they voted to a guy who's there. I don't know if that kind of trust exists in Bihar. So you could have a situation where all these polls face the same problem. People don't
we'll hold that analysis from the opposition's lens. Tehseen, what would they be looking out for or hoping for the 14th?
Two things that the Yadav Muslim consolidation has added some layer of the Dalits, because if the Paswan vote has added with Nitish GND EBC vote, there would be other sections of Dalit communities that would ideally like to come with the Congress, Mahagathbandhan and the RJD. The second thing, the Congress has been able to pull some of its traditional upper caste vote into the Mahagathbandhan, as a result of which that 37% suddenly becomes about 41%, and BJP's 48%, the NDA's, has come down to about 45-46%. And then, as Kanchan Das said, the conversion of seats, because the Muslims have consolidated, then adds up in favor of the Congress Mahagathbandhan. But that is too many ifs happening in an election, which seems difficult.
I would very seriously want to study the geographical reconfiguration of constituencies with Election Commission data and see where exactly did gender play a role, and where did the EBC communities play a role this time. Because OBCs, I think,
look from a psephological lens on the 14th, what would you look out for? What would you be telling viewers to look out for?
Three specific deviations, if they happen, might alter this result. First, the performance of the MGB in the riverine belt, where the Malla vote is there in substantial numbers. Two, as he rightly pointed out, the substantially high turnout in the Simachal belt. And three, if we've gone through the candidate list, there are a lot of former Jansangis that the Jan Swaraj has fielded. I'm really curious to know how they perform. So that's another X factor for me.
Some of those Jansangis were brought back to the BJP fold as well. They worked very hard on it. We're out of time. I want to get a final word from Ajit Jha on, after having travelled, written as much as you have, what would you want viewers to look out for on the fold?
Look at the percentage swing. Last time, 0.3% Mahagathbandhan had lost. This time, the poll that we saw, 11%. That is a massive swing for an incumbent after 20 years, which, as I was trying to make the point, this is a clear-cut wave election.
37 doesn't have LJP. If you add LJP, then the starting point is 42, but it's still a 6% swing, which is big. Yes, Veer Sanghvi, final words. What would you look out for the most on the 14th?
I think this trend is pretty hard to defeat. It looks quite clear. However, I think exit polls often are poor at picking up regional variations because they pick few constituencies. There are also these polls. I'm not sure how much they've got of today's voting. I suspect it happened too early for them, when they came up with the results too early to count on it.
Which is why you need to come back to NDTV tomorrow. We'll have the Access My India, the C voter and the vote wipe data.
I don't think it'll be very different, but I think it's worth discussing.
If you like your politics, it's always worth discussing. And the thing about Bihar is they never get tired discussing politics. You can be at it the whole day till the evening. They'll keep talking about their politics, as will we when we come back with part 2 of the post-poll study. Thank you so much for joining us in our new election studio. It's been terrific to have you with us, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you. Goodbye. Good night.